We selected 8 finalists to present their rural business ideas from 53 applicants, and this is about a 60% increase over the number of applicants we had last year. It's exciting to see that we're actually becoming more well-known in the rural areas. Leading up to the application deadline, which was October 14th, we had education that we offered to help people to prepare for the competition. We started in early August with a live first session with Liz Hyman. And thank you, Liz. Liz and I worked on the educational videos that we had leading up. And then when it came time to work with the finalists on getting their decks together and practicing their pitches, we had George here to help with the people who practiced live yesterday. And Carol Hines was a big help in coaching on both decks and presentation. The first session was, are you ready to be an entrepreneur? And in addition to that, we covered how to plan for a business and validate your business idea, covered the customer-facing aspects of the business model canvas, and we then covered how to craft a pitch deck, including finding TAM, SAM, and SOM, or market information. And in choosing the finalists, we had to consider the business idea and whether they were in business already. We had so many good ones to choose from that we had to kind of refine how we were going to pick them. We had, so whether a business had already started became a criterion, as well as the possibility of growing the number of jobs in rural Nevada. So you're about to see the adult finalists. Through our generous sponsors, we've been able to increase the prize amounts and ensure that every person pitching today will walk away with something. So these are the prize amounts, and in the first year, we offered $1,500 for the first place. Last year was $2,500, and so this year we were able to go to $4,000. It's really quite amazing. In addition, we have a People's Choice Award, and after all of the adults are done pitching, I'll put a QR code up on the screen, and you'll be able to vote then. I'll flash it briefly after the youth have pitched, but the People's Choice Award is only for the adults, and that's an additional prize. So now allow me to introduce the judges for the adult finalists. Dick Bartholet is the director of the Sontag Entrepreneurship Competition at the University of Nevada, Reno. He also manages the Creating a Business Workshop series in the Osmond Center for Entrepreneurship. Additionally, he's a research associate in the University Center for Entrepreneurship. Shirley Allen Kellerman is a native Elkoan who has worked in the banking industry for over 43 years, with the last 23 years working and dealing with helping small businesses. She currently works for the Rural Nevada Development Corporation as a small business lending representative, helping small businesses start up or with any of their borrowing needs. She also serves on several boards, including the Elko Chamber Executive Board of Directors. Elizabeth Woolsey, well, you've already seen and heard from her today. She's the owner and chief enthusiasm officer. Well, I didn't notice that at all. Did you? No. For the Stargazer Inn and the Bristlecone General Store in Baker. And as you know, she was last year's first place adult winner. Scott Shields is an Arizona Wildcat, mining engineer, and Nevada Gold Mines chief supplier of things. Caroline McIntosh is a Nevada Small Business Development Advisor and cheerleader for Nevada Rural Businesses. So as we go in, each presentation is 5 minutes, and then there's 5 minutes of questions. I'll be calling on the judges. They got a late night warning on which companies they were going to be asking the questions of, so hopefully they're prepared. First to present today is Joshua Bonner from B7 Products. So come on down, Josh.
Hi, I'm Joshua Bonner. I am a founder, co-founder, owner of B7 Products. We are B7 Products. We create ideas and products for safety in the mining construction industry. Currently research and develop some products for toddler and infant safety and health. The problem we are dealing with and facing and addressing is required by MSHA and is supposed to be followed to prevent accidents, injury, or death. Mine employees are supposed to honk their horns on equipment or vehicles before startup or movement. It doesn't always happen, and as a result, collisions can occur, along with injuries, deaths, property damage, expenses. what we came up with a solution is called the Coyotes module. Our product delays start, blares the horn on the equipment. When its equipment starts, when the operator applies a key switch, the device will, when the operators go to pull forward, it'll honk twice. It'll honk 3 times when it's put in reverse automatically. Our device has an option to run a strobe light continuously when the equipment is shut off and parked. It can shut the strobe light off when it's in gear, as required by some underground mines in the area. That is an option that the customer can use or not use. It's on them. Our device has a fail-safe circuit. If anything happens, the control power is tripped out, the equipment is it's bypassed, the equipment goes back to normal operation by the OEM. This is our contact info for our team. We're here for questions on support of the equipment or sales. We're also available for if you had problems or concerns or ideas you'd like looked into and developed. You can consult our engineer. Also, I'm in contract with a metalworks fabrication company, so we're available to help with some other solutions. What we have accomplished, we invented the Coyotes module September 2021. March of 2022, we developed modules, wiring kits. We had our patent done in 21. We arranged a contract with Bulldog Metalworks in Caldwell, Idaho, to list our products on their website and help sell to mining companies in August 22. Shared our product, a few people in the mining industry. We created some demonstration videos of the product on a trainer, and then developed finally to demonstrating our videos on a passenger van that would be used by mine sites typically. Arranged with a manufacturer in Spokane who could build our units for us as sales took off and promoted the need to be manufactured. This is a brochure. It's on Bulldog Metalworks website. They've developed to try to promote our product. Some pictures of the module, wiring harness, some examples of some underground equipment it can be seen being used on. Our goals for marketing sales to help keep workers safe. We're here to develop additional safety products for mining industries and other industries. You see here, our sales price is for a complete kit of $61.50. That was on the previous slide. There's also individual components that could be sold as replacement parts on a cost breakdown. This is the cost of parts that it costs my company to buy for raw materials. Contracting manufacturing costs would be $1,600 to have the units made, giving us a gross profit margin of $37.50 at 61%. This is a market. At the top circle, you see America spends over $13.5 billion a year on PPE, safety equipment. We'd like to get into a chunk of that market and possibly actually see that market spend more money because we would be a new product. The middle circle is our projected sales for Nevada, based on an idea of if all the mining companies would even consider outfitting a third of their equipment to try. The bottom circle is mines here in the local Elko vicinity, and based on if they would try a third of their equipment per site. People have asked the origins of our name, the Coyotes module. This is you see here is the reason why I want to make my job site safer, and I want to make everyone else's safer. This is our YouTube video demonstrating our product on a passenger van. There's a QR code you can scan at your own time and try to watch that video. This is once again our contact info, a link to the website for Bulldog Metalworks, who's trying to market and promote our product.
Now, and the first question is from Dick.
Hi, first of all, that was a very nice presentation. I'm very impressed with how far along you are with all of this. One of the things you did not address in your presentation was profitability, profit margin on your units. Can you give us a little insight into what your costs are and what you're selling the units for?
That wasn't the slideshow. The total cost for a complete kit was $6,150.
Okay,
Our cost of parts is roughly $800.
okay, I had missed
It
it.
can vary on current markets for copper, things like that.
There you
Prices
go.
do fluctuate. Contracted manufacturing costs was from DEA of Spokane. That would be $1,600 of labor to have the units made and the harness plus parts. As you see in the bottom, our gross profit margin was $37.50, and that's a 61% markup.
Great, thank you. I had been busy jotting down notes and apparently missed that slide, but thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Shirley?
On the cost of the sales price, $61.50 uninstalled, do you have the ability to install those? And what would the cost of that be? Plus, I'm kind of just not understanding the cost of parts of $800, if you could explain that.
Okay, cost of $800 is, as I mentioned earlier, cost your box, cost the components inside to make it. The raw materials of wire and loom and ends and connections for the wiring harness, as you see in the pictures. As you see there on the slide, your control box and your wiring harness. That's the cost of all those ends, wire, conduit, plugs, everything, all the electronics inside the box. What was your other part of your question, ma'am?
Of do you have the ability to install them, and what would that cost be?
I was advised by Bulldog. I'd consulted a couple independent companies that would do electrical installations at mine sites. I talked to them. I have them available to refer customers to them. I also have someone in town that I negotiated, talked to about, they would be interested parties of installing them on, let's say, mine light vehicles like pickups and vans. They're a automotive and audio installation company, and I briefed them about the basic concepts of my product, and they had interest in being a contractor available. So that would be on whoever buys these products, on them if they would like to use them or someone else. The products do come with an installation instructions. And if you look at detail on that slide, all your wiring is marked of where every wire goes on the piece of equipment.
Do you have an estimate of what the actual installation cost would be?
I estimated my labor time on original units I made were for Getmans. I estimated 5 to 6 hours install time. So on average, if it took anywhere from 4 to 8 hours on a piece of equipment to install, it would vary. If it was a cat truck or loader, it would be pretty similar, but things will vary in time depending on what kind of panels you have to remove and where you have to route your wiring.
Okay, Dick, we have time for one more question.
I do have one more, and that is, have you done any research on what the average cost is of a collision with a heavy piece of equipment and let's say a passenger vehicle or a pickup truck of some sort?
Oh, right, I forget, go ahead, seeing that.
I'm sorry, including the cost of the injuries.
Not all in part. I know right off the get-go, the equipment costs firsthand of part of my normal job I do every week, repairing, replacing components and parts. It can get up there in the means of beyond hundreds of thousands. depending what parts are done. I've had to work on a haul truck and a 930 Komatsu. It was totally totaled in a metal-to-metal collision. Basically, if you think about it in logical stance, how much would it cost to go replace your pickup? That's what these companies would be facing to replace a mine pickup or service truck. Medical and injuries. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that can be extremely high.
Okay,
Thank you.
I think that would, what I was trying to get to is the mining companies and the construction companies probably have an idea of that. The insurance companies might also have a high interest in your product.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Josh. It's not easy going first, so good job. Thank you. Next up is Melinda, known as Lina Day Mort. She is in the Fallon SCDC office.
So my name is Lina Day Mort. I'm the founder and CEO of Secure Exits, and we're creating safer schools. Imagine getting a phone call that you don't want to receive, and that's that there's been a shooting at your child's school. The problem is that emergency procedures in schools are inconsistent and slow, and they're pretty confusing. Our solution is the exit shade. It can give teachers up to 10 minutes. It can save a teacher 10 minutes in an emergency situation. It's protection for everyday heroes, and anyone can use it, and it's designed to fit above the classroom window. This is how it works. It's a powder-coated metal shade, and it fits above the classroom window. When there's an emergency, the teacher just unfolds it and guides it down so it covers the window. It has emergency procedures on the shade. And if it's a hard lockdown, you would just leave it on white. So on the other side of the classroom window, it just shows white. If they ask for a status update, you would move the status wheel to the appropriate color, and that notifies the police or emergency teams that are securing the building. So market opportunity, global market is 132 billion annually for security. US market is 32 billion annually, and here in Nevada, the security market is growing. 13 million was spent in 2021 for Nevada schools, and it's growing in general. It's 10.3% increase annually. My competitors, there's handmade curtains from Etsy. There's shelter shutters. There's blackout easy shutters, and then there's a magnetic shade called Temp Shield. But my product is better because it's easy to use. It's fixed to the door. It's school friendly. It doesn't make the schools look like open air prison systems. It's high quality. It's going to last a long time, and it's endorsed by law enforcement. So my business model, primary market is business to government, school districts, and federal government. My secondary markets would be business to business, hospitals, and other office buildings. My retail price for these longer shades that are custom is $450, and then the smaller metal shades are about $275. 50% gross margins, and it's manufactured here in the US. So traction for my company, this product is patented. I have a non-provisional utility patent on this, and other products that I have designed have patent pendings on them. I also have trademarks in place. Manufactured, my manufacturer is secured, and I have products in hand. I launched a new website in May of 2022, and I'm waiting for a federal school to purchase in Reno. Sierra Job Corps, they're just waiting for budget approvals. And I'm hoping to go to, I'm hoping it will go into the other job corps across the country as well. So my team is just me, Lina Day Mort, I'm CEO. I was an elementary, middle, and adult education teacher for a long time, and I'm a lockdown survivor in a middle school. So my ask is that I need introductions to school district superintendent safety officers. I would like a startup grant or revenue-based financing referrals. And I would love it if you could tell your friends that Secure Exits can help their teachers respond faster in an emergency. And please visit my website at www.secureexits.com. Thank you for your time. Again, my name is Linda Moore, and I'm the founder and CEO of Secure Exits. And I'd also like to thank Kelly Martridge for helping me put together this pitch deck. Thank you.
Liz Woolsey, do you have a question for Linda?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. As a former school teacher, I appreciate anything that's going to keep our students and staff safe in unfortunate situations. My question is, and I love that, you know, in an emergency situation, sometimes our brains freeze and we don't often know. So I love the fact that if you flip that down, you're going to see information that will help you secure your classroom. Is the information customizable to the schools or hospitals? Like, is it one size fits all with that, or can school districts, hospitals, other things put the information that will be more directed to their schools or their hospitals?
No, it can be customized to their emergency procedures.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Fantastic.
most school districts are using this color-coded system. After Columbine, they wanted teachers to put color-coded cards underneath the door. But after Columbine, they decided that wasn't the best procedure because it's inconsistent and those cards can be picked up and moved. And so this way, everything is on the door for a teacher or a substitute teacher or for a student to use.
That's fantastic. Yeah, great.
Okay, next question is for Scott.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for this presentation. Unfortunately, the mother of innovation is necessity, and at times, you know, these are the type of objects that I think that you know, unfortunately we have to have, but they are really good to have, because in the time of emergency they are critical in emergency response. You said something that I keyed on. You said it was law enforcement approved, and so with it being law enforcement approved, how are you going to use that to leverage your marketing plan? And what is your marketing plan to get this not only in schools, but public buildings, social service areas, anywhere where people may gather that this could be used?
I guess my marketing plan is to reach out to SROs, student resource officers, and I have went to lots of conferences, SRO conferences, and I've presented the product, and I've been a vendor there as well. I've talked to a sheriff here in town, and I've talked to the SRO officers that are here in my district as well. But I think that going to those SRO officers is crucial. Yeah, just reaching out to them and seeing what they have to say and approving it. And I've gotten some approvals by some of the law enforcement, and their letters of endorsement are on my website.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. I think it is a fantastic product.
Thank you.
Liz, do you have another question?
Yeah, so do you have any other ideas for other products, you know, that might go along with the door situation? Like, I don't know, for students or for other, like, not just the teachers to have access to, but if the students have their own, do you have any other ideas for products that would relate to this?
I have another product, and it is called an exit plan. And because it's mandatory that you post the emergency exit by the door, what it is it's a plaque that's on the door. It has the emergency route, but then the second portion of it can be taken off, and it has the same color wheel so that you can take it outside for evacuations as well. And it has who you're supposed to contact in an emergency, because sometimes that varies depending on how big the school is. Not everyone is contacting the same person, and so it'll have that information and then attendance. And it's something that you can take out, and
Excellent. That's
it's a better mousetrap than a clipboard. Basically, it has different features.
Right. That's fantastic. Well, yes.
Scott, do you have a second?
Nope, it's good.
And then I also had other products for Meals on Wheels that I was going to try to pitch. And it's to kind of show that they're home or that they're sick or that they're available for their meals. I just discussed it with someone else during COVID and that was an issue. And so I also designed something else for home use as well. That would be on the window. That has the same status bill.
Right.
But tailored to their needs.
That's fantastic. That's great branching out of your idea.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Lena Day. Really good presentation. I loved having the visual to look at. And you stood there and held it up the whole time, which is great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, we have Greg Sklar. He's going to be sharing his presentation as well.
Okay, my name is Greg Sklar. I'm the founder and executive director of the Wild Horse Project. We are a nonprofit business that does wild horse whispering to save horses and heal humans. We're your door to the world of horses. The problems that we face are there's about 41,000 wild Nevadan Mustangs that need homes. There's also approximately 10,000 horses that have been homed, but that are not trained. So wild horses are considered untrainable oftentimes, and therefore unadoptable. Because horses can't talk, we talk for them. There's a majority of people that are non-equestrians in 2022, and a decreasing population of horse people in general as each generation comes up. Another problem that we face and deal with is PTSD in humans. We focus on veterans and also people that have had traumatic issues such as domestic violence. The solutions that we focus on are a biome equivalent ranch facility, horse whispering. We have a documentary and social media campaign, our training programs, adoptions, access for tourists, an equine therapy program, and a kids club. We do in-person marketing and community outreach at horse events across the state, as well as work with Gladius, the horse show that does horse shows also both across the state and across the country. Our kids club is called the World Unicorn Pegasus Association of America. We do online marketing through social media, SEO, cross-posting with our partners, and training videos. This is a list of the partners that we work with. Our documentary is called Galloping Ghosts, and we're also looking for help to finish this as part of our project here. It's the story of Mustang Whispering and the Mustang Whisperer. Horse whispering is training horses using the language of horsemanship and horses. This was coined by Monty Roberts, who you see in the blue shirt. He developed this by working with Mustangs in Nevada. And he was so successful that he became the lead trainer for the Queen of England and the Royal Family of England. He is my teacher and a great mentor for our project. Our particular training program that we use to teach people how to do horse whispering is called Mustangs and Masters. We have an equine therapy program where we use somatic release for people that have experienced PTSD. And we have people that are horse handlers as well as trained therapists to work with individuals in this process. And the way that we do it is by actually teaching them to become a trainer using horse whispering and working directly with the horses. We have a merchandise line, and it's for each of the different individuals that work with us. So people that are on the therapist side or on the ranch side, or people that are trainers. We also have a line for horses in particular, and we work with local craftsmen and leather workers in Nevada for our horse saddlebags, and we have cool horse merchandise. This is our market. It's a $50 billion market for training, equipment, and therapy in the United States. There's 7.2 million horses in the US. The SAM I came to from looking at 43% of that are recreational horses, which the category that we fall into, and that's $21 billion market. Each horse that we work with, we estimate can bring in an income on their own of $11,000. And based on the fact that we at minimum could work with 30 horses per year. That brings our sum to $1.7 million. The competition looks like this. There are other horse whisperers, both in the country, as well as some folks in Nevada that work with Mustangs, but not necessarily working with Mustangs, therapy, and horse whispering all together, as well as all age groups, and we do all of that. Our business model looks like this. We make money by our training program, horse adoptions, trail rides, therapy, and boarding. So we started in 2016 as a nonprofit and then became a business because we didn't have a dedicated grant writer. And currently we are a nonprofit business where we can incorporate both. This is our team. My name is Greg Sklar. I'm the founder and also a trainer. Amanda is our marketing director. Alethea is our ranch manager and also producer of the Gladius show and a trainer. She also got married yesterday and yes, on horseback. Brandon is the producer of our documentary, and we need the money to write grants and advertise and finish our documentary. This is my name and contact information, and happy to answer any questions.
That's perfect timing. Okay, time for questions. First up, we have Caroline.
Well, thank you so much, Greg. We have many, many more wild horses than we can support in Eastern Nevada. And anytime I travel the roads, we just see more of them and see that potential that is lost. So thank you so much for what you're doing with really closing the circle and utilizing horses in such a great way with the whispering. First of all, where are you located?
So our ranch is in Inlay, which is in Pershing County. And then once the horses get used to people and being around humans, then we bring them to a ranch outside of Las Vegas where the Gladius horses are. And then we're hoping to have a ranch close to the Reno area as well that we're working on, so that we have people that can have more direct access to the horses.
So thank you for that grid with the competition. Is there any competition inside Nevada?
I'm sorry, I heard everything except for the last two words was in.
In Nevada, is there any competition in Nevada?
So nobody that we've come across, unfortunately, I would love competition, to be honest. I'd love more people doing this, but nobody doing exactly what we're doing, bringing horse whispering together with therapy and the Mustangs all together. Not that we know.
And lastly, are you working with the Nevada Department of Corrections? Because they have done horse whispering in the past.
Yes, that's a great question. So we have worked with them on the documentary, actually. And what we have worked with them indirectly where people adopt the horses through the Department of Corrections program. And then what happens is they get the horses home and they have trouble with those horses. So we come out to those horses and those people and help them to further their learning and further the learning for both the rider and the horse caretaker, as well as the horse and how to caretake for that horse.
Thank you so much. That great answers.
Okay, Scott, do you have some questions?
No, I think this is fantastic. I actually have some friends that have been part of this program. And I'd like to know what the outreach is larger than just where you're at today. Looking at veterans of foreign wars, PTSD, but also maybe even what you might be doing for things for like children that are in need of some mental well-being.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. So when Monty Roberts kind of got this idea that he wanted to start a veterans program about 7 or 8 years ago, he brought me in to help him set up that program. And that's when we first started with working with veterans. So we had veterans coming from Afghanistan all the way back to Vietnam veterans and a lot of different folks that came through that program. And we've continued that over the years, doing that in Nevada. So we actually work with people that are both veterans and also current military and active duty, which is something that has been really important, I think. And so those are those are our main programs there. We work with victims of domestic violence that are both male and female, and kids and families together. So we have people that come out that have been through really hard times, and they come with their kids and their family to work with the horses together, and it's really helped. And then we work with kids that are on the autism spectrum. And we yesterday in our meeting, we had talked about working with Down syndrome kids. We haven't specifically had Down syndrome kids, but we want to open up that program because both my mom and my sister are special needs teachers. And so we're really open to working with anyone that wants to work with horses that has anything going on in any way.
Again, I applaud you for this because it is something that is a quality of life benefit, and I think it's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Caroline, too. Thank you, Greg. That was a great presentation. Next up, we have Jolene Supp with Main Street Quilts.
Good afternoon. My name is Jolene Supp, and I'm here to bring you my business, Main Street Quilts. At Main Street Quilts, we consider ourselves all things quilting. We are a retail store that sells fabric, notions, and patterns in Wells, Nevada. Our problem that we evaluated was that rural Nevada does not have enough social opportunities for women. I can't tell you how many times people were coming to me saying, are you going to open a quilt store? What are things to do in Wells? And the guys were all signed up to come, but the women said not so much. The other issue that we have is that existing quilters no longer have local shops with high quality fabrics. So our solution, Main Street Quilts, is a retail store with high quality fabrics and notions, kits for easy quilting and ready-made items, classes and retreats. The classes are for beginners as well as existing quilters. We have space for weekend quilting retreats, and we have machines on site for those that don't have access to a sewing machine. And then lastly, we have an online store. Fabrics would be shipped directly to the purchasers, and we will eventually have downloadable patterns. Let's talk about the market opportunity. Globally, there is $4.2 million annually spent on quilting. In the US market, there's 12 million annually, and we've figured out that in Elko County, there's 144,000 available. Main Street Quilts average sale we know is $48.23 a transaction, and our industry data shows that 5.7% of the population is a quilter. So do the math, and there's 144,000 available. From that point on, surveyed across the country, 66% of the quilters said that they would prefer an independent quilt shop. So there's 95,000 available for us annually, and that does not include a growth factor that we anticipate of 15%, as well as the new quilters we're bringing into the industry, the travelers that find us through Google and Yelp, and even quilters that used to quilt and have stopped quilting because they didn't have access to products. Our business model is three-phased. We are a retail store, open Tuesday through Saturday. We go to various off-site shows. Evening and weekend classes and retreats are available. We have, if you're curious about our retail structure, we double the price or the cost to come up with a retail price. And we project 70,000 a year, or at least this coming year, for sales. Our online store it needs some professional website development, but it is online. And our Facebook shows all of our incoming products. Again, we use Google and Yelp, and we project sales there to be 50,000 this first year. And then phase 3 is not online yet and in action yet, but we will be designing digital patterns in-house, and then designing and preparing ready-made projects in the form of kits for all ages. And we project that to be 100,000 after launch in the next 18 months. If you look at the competition, Main Street Quilts checks all the boxes. And we evaluated it against the Quilt Parlor in Battle Mountain, Joann's Fabric, a big box store here in Elko, and the internet, which we all have access to. Location-wise, ourselves and Joann's Fabric is probably the closest to this market, but we deal in a higher quality fabric along with the Quilt Barn, or I mean, the Quilt Parlor over in Battle Mountain. But we also have grab and go projects. We have more fabric variety in that we not only stock Moda and high quality cottons, but we stock grunge, we stock minky, and flannels also. So the thing that we think we specialize in though is that personal touch and socialization that quilters and specifically women are looking for when they do their quilt purchase. We have a little bit of traction. We opened our store the 1st of July, and you can see we're trending nicely. The month of November, we are anticipating $6,000 in sales. There's my team, and it's small. I'm the owner, and Veronica Stevens is my purchasing partner. And today we're asking for introductions to local website and e-commerce developers, startup grants for rural businesses, and we're specifically asking that you come by and see us. There's my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Jolene. Very good on your timing too. And so our first question goes to Liz.
Yes. Hello, Jolene. I'm also
Liz.
an avid quilter. I've been sewing since I was 13 and learned some quilting techniques later on in life. I just love what you're doing. I think sewing is so important, such a great pastime, but also vibrant skill for everybody to learn. I do have a couple questions. Do you have any ideas to get children involved in the sewing projects and things like that? I know women we're definitely on board, but any
So one of
chances?
the things that we offered, Liz, is a no-sew quilt class to bring in kids. They needed to be 5 years old or older. It didn't involve sewing. It involved making Christmas ornaments out of fabric and styrofoam balls and pins so that they wouldn't get hurt, but yet they could still participate. The other thing that we did is a pillowcase class. And in that group, you needed to be 9 years old, but great starter projects to get kids involved in liking fabric and quilting and the craft of it all.
Oh, that's great, because I do think they are going to be invested once they're young and see how fun it is, and then you've got customers for life. Yeah, and
The
then
other
I guess
thing, Liz,
go ahead.
The other thing, if I could add, is we have seen a tremendous amount of young quilters, and I'm talking younger than me, obviously, but 20-year-old quilters that are using our machines, and the access to the machine is facilitating them getting involved with quilting.
Right, and I think certainly in the last couple of years, we've learned that we do need to have social engagements, and there's nothing better than to be around other people who are sewing and creating, and I applaud you for going for this. And then I guess my other question is then about marketing, like how do people in Wells know that you're there, or in the outlying areas? Just can you review that?
So we are blasting Facebook, and I'm even down in White Pine County Clutter and Ely Yard Sale over in Wendover here, in terms of Elko County Producers, Elko Women's Cave, and Elko Crafters. And that has been very effective for us. The biggest comment that we hear when people walk through our door is wow. And the other thing that has been very successful for us is word of mouth. I've had some access with the Lamoille group over here. And one of the comments that one of the gals said when she left was, "Now that's a real quilt store." So they're telling other people, they're intermingling that way. We were at the McGill Labor Day reunion day, and we will be over in Spring Creek at the Lamoille Women's Craft Fair for 2 days. We hand out a lot of cards. We do a lot of interaction at those offsite events.
Fantastic. Well, we'll have to collaborate for the Bristlecone General Store. I'm starting a second Sunday afternoon craft, get people to come and do their thing. So I'll be in touch.
I got your email, baby, already. I got a few thoughts for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, Scott, do you have a couple of questions?
Yeah, I think the first one, and I'm going to get in trouble for this one because my wife is arts and crafts, and it's probably going to cost me a bunch of money as well. But you talked about the sustainability, the growth at 15%. Do you think that is sustainable year over year? Understanding that you're coming into a market that doesn't have anything that exists. How do you plan on continuing that sustainability year over year?
So reaching out to different sectors of the population is one of the big reasons, Scott, where we believe that. For instance, we have already seen some Hispanics coming to us. Last night, I was beefing up on my Espanol in my class because I had quilters that didn't even speak English fluently last night. Again, these young quilters, and we're all having kids, they're all growing up. I think that that's absolutely huge, but I also think that it is imperative upon us to be creative in terms of not just making your grandmother's quilts. And they're very important, but also trending toward much more artistic activities. Through applique perhaps, through scenic quilting. There's a lot of different ways to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you want to hold up what you got right there?
Couple of things I brought. I was just hoping somebody would ask why I differentiate myself from everybody else. This is something that we have done. It's a 1 yard cut. We've got our own label on it, and it shows the price, it shows our logo, and it shows our website, mainstreetquilts@yahoo.com, or our email, I should say. This has been, I equate it to like candy in the grocery store. This 1 yard cut will go in your cart and get checked out faster than what you realize. And you will walk out with more material than what you originally envisioned. It's been very effective for us. The other thing I brought was gift cards that we're gonna do this Christmas. They cost me 10 cents. You can load up as much material as you want on them and obviously redeem them at Main Street Quilts. So you can redeem them in one transaction, 10 transactions, it doesn't matter, and you can put more money back on the card, but something that we created so that you would remember us and come back to us, as well as a fun way of keeping people in the business.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jolene.
Mhm.